That's what's wrong.
That's better.
That's more like it.
So crisp.
Check, check, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're online, we're on manual.
Testing.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh, what a goal.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10!
I see it, but I don't believe it.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Preston fans, welcome both teams out on the ground. Massive rise here at the Preston Lions, the Oakleigh Cannons.
A Sunday afternoon treat in Senol NPL Victoria, round 14, as Preston Lions take on Oakleigh Cannons at Genis Steel Stadium. Josh Parrish here alongside Mark Ivkovic for this one. It's a pivotal game for both teams. Oakleigh with a slip-up last week against Dandenong City, looking to regain top spot on the table from Hume with a win here today. Preston could climb back into the top 6 spots with a win, depending on the result of Melbourne City versus Dandenong Thunder, which is a simultaneous kickoff. So a lot on the line this afternoon for both these clubs, who have a speedy turnaround for their cup fixtures midweek. Preston Lions make 3 changes from the side, who lost 1-0 away to Altona Magic in comfortably their worst performance of the campaign. Jason Romero and Zach Chianchi drop to the bench. George Mihalidis misses out through injury. In comes Leighton Brooks, the returning Jonas Markovski from injury, and Matt Bozanovski is back from suspension to start in the heart of defence, with Elijah Atakubi pushed into midfield. Alongside Bozanovski in defence, Jamal Ali, Stefan Negro and Dom Felino. Ryan Scott between the sticks, the captain. Oli Kubale starts against his former club alongside Sian Cuba in midfield, and Stefan Zini retains his place on the right. On the bench, Mayan, Ethan Pandov, Naoki Suto and Jan Albano. No place for Luke Francis in the squad today. For Oakleigh, just the one change, and Jordan Hall misses out through injury. Jacob Tratt starts in the heart of defence alongside Brodie Boyce. Tom Manos between the sticks, Joseph Ford and Connor Hampson at right and left back respectively. In midfield, Cameron McGill, Campbell Strong and Joe Guest. The front three of Labib, Adam Juratovic and Kingsley Sinclair, all unchanged. Two changes on the bench. No Joe Knowles today. Liston Diaz comes in. And then Tyler Rovic as well, the youngster. James Georgiou, Brandon Giacorini, Mark Batheriotis and Zach Bowling. So swings and roundabouts for Oakleigh, Ivka, with Knowles missing out and Liston Diaz coming back.
Yeah, and Trapp back into the lineup. We haven't seen him for a fair few weeks. He lost his spot in the side to Brodie Boyce, who's taken that centre-back position by storm this season. But the best defence versus the best attack today. So Oakleigh with the best attack and Preston with the best defence. Oakleigh's defence is right up there too. Second best defence in the league. Prior to last week, it kept 4 clean sheets in a row prior to conceding against Dandenong City. So it's going to be a tight contest this afternoon, but no mucking around by Zoran Markovski. Jonas Markovski straight back into the lineup after returning from injury. So big opportunity for him yet again. You know, this forward line has been a cause of concern for Preston. So interesting contest coming up.
Adam Babka is today's referee. He's ready to get us underway. Oakleigh in the all-blue, kicking from right to left. Preston in the all-red. And the countdown is on. We are away at Jenna Steele Stadium. It was an absolute classic when these two sides met on the opening round of the season. Preston under the pump. Ryan Scott with a crucial penalty save. Joe Guest opening the scoring with a magnificent header. But Preston fought back. A stunning goal against the run of play from Sian Cuba flipped things. And then the introduction of Zach Chianchi off the bench changed the game. A late double for Leighton Brooks to win it. And Preston somehow came away with a 3-1 victory in a game they really struggled in. Chianchi on the bench again today. We might see another match-turning impact from him.
Oakleigh would be wary of that too. You know, they would have been fuming that they lost that opening game against Preston. They were the much better side that afternoon, so I'm sure they've got a point to prove today.
High clearance. Atakubi pushed into midfield today. Gives Preston a bit of added stability alongside Kubale. Something inventive from Labib. Doesn't come off. Superb ball from Negro out to Zini. Felino overlapping to join the attack. Markovski's the target in the middle. Tried something acrobatic. Ended up clearing the danger for Oakleigh. It's a very awkward ball for him to control.
Interesting to note that
It's Ryan Scott plays with a bit of fire there.
Stefan Negro and Dom Felino have switched sides this afternoon. Allows Stefan Negro to attack a little bit more on his favoured right foot.
Well, no natural left-footed defender. Barely any left-footers in the Preston squad at all, in truth. So those two have to deputise at times. Arguably Negro more of an attacking threat on the overlap, so I can see why the change has been made. Turn ball from Sinclair didn't hit the target.
You mentioned in the preview there, Josh, that Preston can go back into the top 6 this afternoon, depending on Melbourne City's result. They also could fall 6 points behind Melbourne City if they fail to win today, and Melbourne City get all 3 points. So They don't want to do that because then, it's a huge gap to start chasing in the second half of the season.
And I would expect Melbourne City to do the business against Thunder today on their recent form. Of course, you never know in Senol NPL Victoria. Always throws up surprises every single week. Little layoff from Guest. Up down the line to Sinclair. Just too many red shirts in the way for Oakleigh. Well held by Elijah Atakubi, who maintains possession for Preston, the Canadian. Ali back with Bozanovsky, who's back from suspension after a red card in their cup win over Uni Hill Eagles. Preston have endured a couple of defensive absences as a result of cup games. Jamal Ali, the other player, suspended in an earlier round. It's quite incredible that Preston's defence remains the best in the competition, given how many changes they've had to make in that department. Still no Aidan Bryce with that MCL injury. I'm told he's making good progress. Boyce with the clearance. Juratovic putting on the pressure. Oakleigh stole the points late in their visit to BT Connor Reserve last season. It was Jordan Hall who scored the late winner. A flicked header, not in the squad today. The game Preston really should have won. Left a sour taste. Of course, Oakleigh got a taste of their own medicine in round one this season. Certainly deserved to win that one.
Interesting to see how Atakuba and Kublai link up together this afternoon in that midfield. It's where Oakleigh are so dangerous as well, in the middle of the park with their midfield led by Joe Guest.
Speaking of Guest, this season he's gone second in all-time top-flight appearances for the Oakleigh Cannons. Trivia question without notice, Ifka.
Who's the first? Jeez.
He's still playing, I believe, in VPL 2. I'll let you stew on that one.
Yeah, let me stew on that one.
Sinclair. It's like one of those game shows where you give an audience a question. We'll give you the answer on the other side of this break.
You stumped me. Just give you the answer.
It's Goran Zoric.
Oh, jeez.
He's top of the pile. But if he sticks around for another season or so, he could surpass him. 26 top-flight appearances behind Goran Zoric.
You'd have to go down as probably the best import that we've had, Joe Guest, in the NPL.
I think 2 gold medals, and the longevity speaks to that. The production's unreal. Is there a touch from Hampson there? Not quite. Preston probing and looking for a corner.
Preston will be looking for a response this afternoon. It's a pretty poor performance last week in the Macedonian derby against Altona Magic. Those games are never easy, those traditional derbies, but they expected a much better performance than they put in. They'll be looking to make amends for that.
Bozanovsky up for the header, unopposed. Won bravely by Markovsky, but cushioned back by Hampson. Big opportunity for Jacob Tratt this afternoon, who lost his place in the team after a disastrous first half against Heidelberg at home.
It's very hard for him to break back into the side as well. Oakleigh didn't look back after they decided on Brodie Boyce and Jordan Hall as their centre-back partnership.
McGill just ran out of room there. Nigro's throw up the line. Good hold-up play from Markovski. Loose touch from Hadakubi, but it ricochets straight off to Ratovic and to Preston's advantage. And that's a decent ball from Cuba. Zinni spinning and shooting. And it's well off the mark. Not a fluid Preston move by any means, but the game's first shot in anger.
I just feel like if Preston can score early enough in this game, a lot of pressure will be relieved on that forward line.
Ratovic on a hiding to nothing against Bozanovski in the aerial duel. And again, the chest from Hadakubi, cleverly done. Ali with the aerial switch of play for Zinni. But only really headed on into the path of Sian Cuba. Manos clears. Ali wins the header. Joseph Ford misses the mark. It's another one who's had to earn his place back in the side.
He's more fortunate due to some circumstances, because Labib really made that position his own. And then a few injuries up top has enabled Labib to play a more advanced role and Ford come back into the lineup at fullback.
Yeah, certainly if Preston Diaz was fit to start, you'd think Labib would be back at right back. Equally capable in both roles. Well, this season has presented a pretty thrilling shootout for not only the Premiership in Senol NPL Victoria and the resulting final series, but also Australian Championship qualification. It's a three-way chase at the moment between Heidelberg, Hume City and Oakleigh for the qualifying spot.
Yeah, Oakleigh will be mindful of that as well. They would love to be a part of that competition, you'd imagine. Hume moving into top spot after defeating Altona last night.
McGilp able to turn and pick his spot. Guest receiving on the half turn. Hampson galloping forward down the left. Hampson stands it up and misses everybody in the box. Chased down by Labib. He goes at Foligno. Sees his cross blocked. Oakleigh corner.
Good defending by Foligno, just stood his ground. But Oakleigh so dangerous from set pieces. Started to find their groove again in the last few weeks, scoring a number of times from corners.
Connor Hampson, although he's not the tallest, is a real threat from these situations. Jamal Ali has his assignments. Trap peeling off to the back stick wasn't marked, but Ryan Scott was all over it.
Right on cue after you pump up how good they've been from corners, one of the worst you'll see.
At least it wasn't a short corner. That would have really offended you.
That's why I appreciate how dangerous Oakleigh are from set pieces. They don't muck around with that kind of stuff.
Cuba.
It's great work from Joe Guest to prevent Bozanovski playing that ball forward.
Shove from McGilp on his former midfield partner. Those two formed the axis of a dual championship winning side. Lino's speculative ball forward. Haven't been able to pick out Sian Cuba between the lines just yet, but he's clearly the man who can make things happen for Preston in the final third.
It's the Club's top goal scorer this season with 5.
Not too many golden boot contenders in this Preston side. It's been pretty spread, and the goals have dried up in recent weeks. Only 2 in their last 3 league outings. Of course, the week before they put a fair few past Green Gully. Guest feeding it forward to Sinclair. Loves a curler on his right. Instead, that one's charged down, and then a late tackle from Juratovic.
The big concern to take out of that Altona Magic game for Preston last week was the inability to create chances. You know, they've been able to create chances, just haven't been able to score it. But last week they just did not look like scoring at all in that game. It's not going to be easy to this afternoon. As you can see, the game's going the way we probably expected it to start off. Very cagey, tight affair. 2 very defensively solid teams. Much slower tempo start to the game than we saw in round 1, that's for sure.
Slightly less boisterous atmosphere as well. Negro. Hampson. A kick and run. That's brilliantly done from Connor Hampson. And he's got Juratovic to aim for in the box. Cleared as far as Strong. Sinclair. Hampson to whip it in. It's a good shape on it. And Matt Bozanovsky did superbly.
It's a great ball into the area from Hampson. They're just so good at defending their box, Preston, especially from crosses into the area. Helps that 2 of your coaching staff are some of the best centre-backs that we've seen going around. Zoran Markowski and Sash Oganovsky in particular.
Negro. Hooked away by Tratt, only as far as Brooks. Waiting for support, Leighton Brooks. It's a tough assignment he's got today up against Hampson in this sort of form.
Yeah, Hampson's regained that form that he had when he first came to NPL Victoria. Up and down season last year.
Did score against Preston, although it only proved scant consolation in that elimination final loss. It was a day for the fullbacks that day, with Don Felino scoring his only Preston goal. Clearance straight into McGilt from Boyce. Danger averted for Oakleigh though. Labib, great take and a good find to spot Joe Guest. Fantastic from Labib, who continues his run. It's Joe Guest lining up his sights and blazing wide.
The right connection on it there, Joe Guest, just not the right angle.
And this is a worry. Cam McGilt has had a checkered injury history in the last couple of seasons.
It's heavily strapped up as well.
Yeah, there's more tape than leg showing on that left side. His old friend Ollie Kubele goes and checks on him.
Looks like he's complaining about a head knock there.
Yeah, looks like it's not a lower limb problem, which is probably a great relief to Oakleigh. He'll be okay to continue. Hadakubi. Hadakubi and Kubele have not played together in midfield very much this season for Preston, if at all. Been one or the other, or Hadakubi in defence. Hampson being pulled back by his jersey, wanting further sanction. Adam Bafka decides a free kick is sufficient.
Well, they were both missing for large chunks of the season so far with injury.
Sinclair. Give and go, and Guest knocks it into the path of Hampson. Well, he's getting plenty of joy down that left-hand side, Connor Hampson. And he does draw the free kick off Oli Kubalay, whose intentions were honest, but he was second to the ball.
Getting a lot of joy out on this left-hand side, isn't he, Connor Hampson? Probably Brooks is going to have to start sitting a little bit deeper, you'd say, to help out Stefan Negro. Just wonder if that's a reason why Markovsky made that change as well, to swap Foligno in Negro around, just so that Negro can probably defend Connor Hampson's attack.
120 plus A-League appearances. Stefan Negro probably most capable fullback of defending an overlap in this competition, but it's a tough task when you're outnumbered for any player.
Very dangerous position for a free kick.
Joe Guest will be licking his lips here. 2 in the wall for Preston. 5 to aim for Guest. Back post delivery for Hampson, and he heads down. No purchase on it to trouble Ryan Scott. The first save of note in this game. Delivery was right on the money. Hampson just had a bit of an issue generating power. Just overheard Soren Markovsky read the riot act to Leighton Brooks about his defensive responsibilities. That's the potential opening in this game for Oakleigh.
Yeah, well, you can't stand and watch your fullback, run past you and attack the way he is. It's about 3-4 times he's got it in behind.
This time it's Sinclair getting the wrong side, and Guest onto the loose ball and fires too close to Scott. It was an awkward bounce for the Preston keeper. Joe Guest spotted his opening there. He hasn't scored in 4 league games, which for him is almost a goal drought. Looks pretty likely today.
Awkward clearance as well. That could have ricocheted anywhere.
There was absolutely vicious spin on that ball as it came off Ryan Scott's gloves. Guest again. McGill. Hampson arriving now. Oakleigh weaving their magic down this left flank. 3-man weave and then an awful touch from Hampson, just as we've been talking him up.
He's seen the funny side of that one.
Not one for the highlights reel. Very mild afternoon in Reservoir today. Perfect conditions for football. Bosanovsky with the ball wide. A little shove there from McGill. Heavy collision with Atakubi. Play goes on. Cuba throws a little feint, a little step over. Gets the ricochet back. And finds himself hemmed in. Up against Ford. Cuba wriggling free. And against Boyce. And they won't even get the corner there, Preston. Foligno just copping the brunt of a follow-through from Brodie Boyce, however inadvertent.
So he did well to wriggle out of that. Sian Cooper.
Looked like he was on a hiding to nothing there. Preston can't keep it alive.
No nonsense approach from Elijah Adekubi. Just throwing his body on the line. Going for that 50-50 ball. That's what you want to see.
Now, Adam Duratovic is penalised for resorting to illegal tactics. I can sympathise. He's giving away about a foot in height against Matt Bozanovsky.
It's probably fortunate that there's that height difference, because Matt Bozanovsky was any shorter. That would have been an elbow to the face.
Strong sliding in. Kofsky wants it over the top. Instead it goes wide to Negro. Square ball to find Cuba. Knocks it on to Zinni. Zinni to the byline. Manos missed it. And Brooks at the back post. Strikes the crossbar. Oakleigh at 6s and 7s. And Preston should have hit the front there.
Definitely should have hit the front. Just didn't get the right connection on it, Brooks. And a lot of space there, left free at the back post. Just needed to drive it into the back of the net, not into the ground. That's what's worked against him in that moment. It's good work by Sian Cuba to play that quick ball out wide to Stefan Zinni. Good ball across the face, had the Oakleigh defence scrambling.
Tom Manos completely overcommitted to that. Although Brooks still had a fair bit to do with the amount of bodies on the goal line.
I think it was intentional to drive it into the ground to get that bounce. I just think he got the wrong connection on it.
Well, the game's best chance falls Preston's way after Oakleigh had probably had more of it.
Can see that Preston do look dangerous when they move the ball quickly in that front third. But it's hard to get into those positions against a team like Oakleigh. They're so compact.
Trats. Sinclair. Sinclair miscontrols. Rolls out to Guest anyway. Forward. Labib. Strong. Out to Joseph Ford. Is that off a hand of Foligno? Perhaps not. Whipped into the box. Oh, superb turn from Markovsky, and he can get the counter going now. And Cuba. Zinni had an opening, couldn't take it.
It's great defending from Brodie Boyce though. Read the play, stepped up onto Cuba.
It's a bad back pass from Adekubi. An opening for Guest now. Straight into the body of Bozanovsky. McGill spots that interception. Sinclair getting free down the left. Sinclair's looping cross. Bib will retrieve on the other side. Forward.
You can see when Oakleigh get onto the ball, they really suffocate you. The fullbacks push on so high, which makes your wingers have to drop back. They only leave their two centre-backs defending. It's a bit of a high-risk, high-reward moment.
Very late challenge from Stefan Zinni, and he'll be the first into the book this afternoon.
Not a good challenge there from Stefan Zinni. Just a very well organised side, aren't they? Because I was saying how they suffocate you when they're on the ball, but then they're so quick to get back into their defensive shape and so compact, which Preston don't like playing against teams that have that setup. We saw it a couple of weeks ago against Dandenong City, quite similar kind of setup.
Chris Taylor's football is all about transitions, isn't it? Speedy transitions forward, really disciplined transitions into defence. Guess with another set piece, and it's straight to Scott again. Another wasted ball into the box.
With his crossing boots at home so far this afternoon, Joe Guest.
Markovsky again wanted the early one over the top. Preston preferring a slower build-up. Boyce uncompromising. Kubalay into touch.
So what the instructions are from the Preston coaching staff, they really want this ball to start moving forward.
You get hemmed in by Oakleigh pretty quickly if you don't move the ball quickly. Cut off your passing options, force a turnover in midfield, and they're away.
Markovsky's football is all about being brave and having the courage to play forward and take those risks. They're not really making much progress, just slowly moving the ball around.
More direct approach taken by Negro that time, but it doesn't connect. Scoreless, half an hour played at Jenna Steele Stadium between two of the big guns in Victorian football. Trats hoiks it clear. One back by Atakubi. Given away straight to McGill, and now Hampson's forward and losing his footing. Leighton Brooks disciplined that time in getting back.
And that's the work rate you want to see from Leighton Brooks.
Preston exploit the space now. Sydney forced to go backwards. Atakubi with a big switch. And a nice take from Negro. He's not on the same wavelength as Leighton Brooks. And back by Sinclair and Joe Guest. Looking for Labib. Is there a shove there from Foligno? The officials think otherwise. Howls of protest from the Oakleigh bench.
Didn't look like there was much in it, to be honest.
It looked like there was contact, but Foligno kept his arms firmly by his sides. That's probably what saved him. Is there a problem for Manos here?
Well, looks like a bit of a concern, doesn't it?
They do have a goalkeeper on the bench this week, Oakleigh. Zach Bowling, they don't always name one. Sinclair. Twisting this way and that. Still Kingsley Sinclair. Hampson goes down. And it was always a hopeful appeal.
Again, good work rate from Leighton Brooks. He's recognised the threat that Connor Hampson's got, and he's just going to go with him. It's twice he's done that now. Some work by Kingsley Sinclair to turn Steph Negro left and right, find that space past him.
He's been mightily impressive already. Very understated footballer, but just a dream to slot into just about any position you can imagine.
Most of the Oakleigh players are a bit underrated in the competition. Very, very consistent. And that's why they find themselves where they do on the table.
Kubalay. That is heels click there. Referee paid advantage. Preston didn't take advantage. McGill. Closed down by Cuba. Oh, he turned his head. Turned his back on the play. One back by Cuba though. Zinni. Wants to go at speed, Stefan Zinni. It's cleared by Brody Boyce. Ford. Flips it up towards Juratovic. It's an unsure touch from Bozanovsky. Ryan Scott bails him out. There's late contact on the Oakleigh striker.
It's a little bit unnecessary from Ryan Scott.
Labib whips it in. Attempted back heel. And then behind for a Oakleigh corner.
It's really good defending from Matt Bozanovsky. Got himself really touch tight with Juratovic. Didn't allow him to get that little flick on. You see most defenders will probably be half a metre off him, and that flick on probably would have gone into the back of the net.
Another chance for Joe Guest to swing in a corner. And Kubi and Bozanovsky seem to get in each other's way there. Ali sticking tight to Hampson. Now Hampson in space to cross. Ball stayed in play. Out as far as Guests. Well defended by Foligno. Kubalay to knock one in behind for Zinni. And that's offline. And the ball had to come a second or two earlier.
And a better delivery as well. Seems like the Preston crowd has just started to get on the Oakleigh players' backs about going down too easily. We've had Labib and Hampson. I say Juratovic got heavy contact there, whether it was a foul or otherwise. Cuba. This one's still on a knife edge. Towards the feet of Markovsky. Preston cough it up again. Sinclair. McGill. Markovsky tracking all the way back, but Oakleigh keep it through Cam McGill. Labib. Jamal Ali leading a one-man press all the way up the park. And McGill's attempted ball through. Winds up safely in the gloves of Ryan Scott. Quick throw to restart. In a game with precious few chances so far. Leighton Brooks has had the best one of them. He's on the ball now against Joseph Ford, and it's well defended.
Sides who are very well drilled defensively. Probably not a surprise to see it still scoreless after 38 minutes.
How much Preston's going to miss the presence of George Mialides in the middle of the park this afternoon. He's kind of that line breaker for him that's able to play those passes over the top.
Negro gives Zinni one to chase. Zinni putting Tratt under the pump. And now Kubalay. The give and go was just too predictable. Hampson sweeps up for the Oakleigh Cannons.
Kube and Kubalay are very, very similar type of players. Mialides is that one that's able to break the lines a little bit more of a forward passer. Has scored a couple of goals the last few weeks as well.
No whistle. Forward pass is picked off by Ali. Cuba. Now Labib with something to chase. No way past Jamal Ali. He's just run out of real estate. Despite the howls of protest from the grandstand.
How about the pace on Jamal Ali? Labib is no slouch.
Safe to say he's the quickest central defender in the competition, I think, Jamal Ali.
Just.
Get up, boss, get up together.
Strong. Campbell strong. And to McGill.
Closer, Steph, closer.
Oakleigh slowly encircling the Preston penalty area. Hampson with another chance to deliver. It's right on top of Ryan Scott, who answers with the punch. Superb shape on that delivery. Leighton Brooks doesn't get the whistle he was looking for. Great hustle from Jonas Markovski. Cuba only has one option, and that's to try and flick it through to himself. It's always going to be a tough ask. Green Acres for Stefan Negro to exploit here. Instead he takes it infield. And Cam McGill cannily wins the free kick.
It's probably unnecessary for Stefan Negro to come across centrally. It's probably better off just whipping the ball into the area.
I'm just trying to run at Sinclair. Had space in behind him.
Either or. Probably just took the wrong option in that moment. Probably a bit of frustration and just gave away the free kick.
Having said that, Cam McGill is one of the best winners of a defensive half free kick I've ever seen in my life. Not to say they're not free kicks, he just knows where to position his body to just sucker in an attacking player for the contact and relieve the pressure. It's very smart. Must be extremely frustrating to play against. Good flick on from Juratovic. Here goes Sinclair. Here underneath it. Foligno didn't get clean contact. Strong. Asks a lot of Hampson, who volleys it back into the area, and it's just wide by Juratovic. What an assist that would have been.
Oh, jeez, he did so well to control that ball on his chest and whip it in across the face. Not bad by Juratovic either. The ball was coming at pace to him as well.
A really difficult pass from Strong. Hampson made that look a lot easier than it was. Bit of a lack of movement in front of Dom Foligno there.
Yeah, I think that's the frustrating thing for Preston. They're all so static when they're in possession.
Kubalay helps it on though. Brooks. As he clipped by forward. He was indeed. Joseph Ford goes into the book, and Preston have a free kick right on the edge of the area.
That's much better from Leighton Brooks. Backing himself 1v1 against his fullback. You can see he's a player lacking confidence at the moment. He's hesitated from doing that, but when he does do it, he's got the pace and skills to be able to beat his opponent. And that's what can happen. You know, you drive at your defender, put him on the back foot, draw a foul. Now he goes into the referee's book. He'll be second-guessing himself now, Joseph Ford, for the remainder of the game when he's got his attackers running at him.
Now it's time for Sian Cuba. Don't bet against him whipping this towards the top corner, by the way. If it gets a touch on the way, all the better.
Very congested 6-yard box there.
There's peak hour traffic inside the Oakleigh penalty area right now as Sian Cuba sizes up this chance for Preston. It's Cuba and it's into the wall. Real frustration for Preston to waste that opportunity. Preston are a little light on the halfway line here. Long one from Scotts. A lot of Preston players are offside. Can't get involved. Sinclair. Oh, Stefan Negro is protesting his innocence. Adam Bavka had a long look at that one before deciding to reach for the whistle.
Hey, Roy Hobson, get back in your box, Roy.
Good banter from the Preston fans just below the dugout.
This is the type of area that Oakleigh like to get a free kick. This is definitely Joe Guest territory.
Well, a late set piece opportunity for Oakleigh. After Preston just butchered theirs. Guest. Good shape on it. Ryan Scott arrives with the punch again. 1 minute up on Lucas Martia's board to add on to the end of this first half. Trats in an unfamiliar position for a centre half. Decent cross though, and away by Bozanovsky. Strong. Picked off by Negro. Picked on by Zinni. And now Cuba has half an opening. And pokes it towards Stefan Zinni. Tratt sliding in to snuff it out, and Oakleigh had bodies back anyway.
It's so quick to react, these Oakleigh players, aren't they? Just when you thought Preston were away.
Tratt with a crunching challenge. All ball though. And Adabavka whistles an end to this first half. Well, Oakleigh have had the better of it, but Preston have had the best chance.
Well, Juratovic will probably argue that. I thought that was a great chance for Oakleigh as well, but very, very even game. You know, it's just going the way we expected, tight and cagey, a lot on the line. You just probably expect both sides to be a little bit more expansive in the second half as it goes on. So it's anyone's ball game.
The best is yet to come at Jenna Steele Stadium, so stay with us here on the Senol NPL Victoria live stream. The halftime score is Preston Lions 0, Oakleigh Cannons 0.
Against Caroline's Queen's George Cross, with the winner, of course, advancing to the round of 32 national stage of the Hart.
welcome back to Jenna Steele Stadium, where the score at halftime is Preston Lions 0, Oakleigh Cannons 0. The cagey first half started to come to life as it wore on. And Oakleigh Cannons have a chance to go back on top of the pile with a win today. And Preston, well, the task becomes urgent to keep pace with the top six. If Melbourne City take all 3 points. They are a goal to the good at half-time against Dandenong Thunder, so that's looking likely. Leighton Brooks with Preston's best opportunity. A back post volley after Tom Manos had already leapt and missed a cross, but nicks the top of the crossbar, and Preston won't take advantage of that opening. Big chance for Oakleigh as well. The back end of the half with a chest and volleyed cross from Connor Hampson. It came at a rate of knots towards Artem Duratovic. Couldn't quite direct it on target, despite his strong goal-scoring form this season. Josh Parrish here alongside Mark Ivkovic, and already the second half seems to have started at a higher tempo.
Yeah, you can see Preston probably a little bit more intent. A little bit more intensity to their game already.
Forward. Markowski working hard in the press. So too Sian Cuba. Trapp moving the ball out to Connor Hampson. Probably Oakleigh's best player in that first half.
Some good challenges, didn't he, Trapp? Still looks a little bit suspect on the ball. Heavy first touches, just gotten away with it a couple of times.
A little push in the back on Labib. Wins Oakleigh a set piece, which like they might swing straight into the penalty area. Guest picks out Hampson at the back post, and there's an offside flag up. That was some delivery from Guest.
Obviously a rehearsed routine as well. Just kind of Hampson went a little bit too early.
You could see him shouting for it before it was delivered. Guest has absolutely laced that. Those two have a superb connection dating back to their days in England with Curzon Ashton. Duratovic. One by Atakubi. Markowski sizes up his options, goes wide to Cuba.
Just too slow to react at times, Preston, you know, when they do win the ball. Just so limited options going forward because they're just too slow to push up the field. See, then Cuba just had to go backwards.
The team is adept in defensive transition as Oakleigh. Those flaws are highlighted. Now here's a potential 3-on-3. Bozanovsky caught in the 1v1 with Joe Guest and does well.
Good touch from Joe Guest helped Bozanovsky there.
Zinni hoists across on the cover. And here's Oren Markowski encouraging his wingers to be more proactive in taking on their man, especially Joseph Ford, who is on a booking from that first half.
You go past one and then you've got Brodie Boyce to deal with.
Kubele. Strong. Still Campbell strong. Foligno sliding in. Getting it caught under his feet on the deck. Labib. Sinclair. Ali will see it over the byline for a goal kick. You can see Stefan Zini thinking about the tactical foul there and remembering he was on a booking himself. Kubek. Picked off by Tratz. McGill. All the way back to Manos. Had an injury worry in that first half, but still moving slightly gingerly.
Fortunately, he hasn't had much to do so far this afternoon.
Well, not a save to make so far for Tom Manos. Labib. Juratovic around the corner. And the two got in each other's way just as Juratovic was about to pull the trigger.
First time Juratovic kind of broke free from Jamal Ali as well.
Now Leighton Brooks. The ricochet falls to Kubele. Brooks wide to Cuba. So now Preston have some options. Cuba spins back onto his left. Hopeful shouts of handball from the Preston bench. Well, Cuba's options dried up pretty quickly.
Stood on the ball for too long there, Josh. You could hear the screams, back yourself. Needed to just keep driving forward. The second he stood on the ball, Oakleigh was just able to gather the troops and get numbers behind it.
Miscontrol from Connor Hampson. Preston still have Zach Gianchi in reserve today. He returned the game when he came on against Oakleigh last time out. See if he turns super sub again today. Foligno. Header falls to Zini. And Tom Manos called into action for the first time.
So a little bit of room to play with there, Stefan Zini. Still not enough room to get a proper clean strike on it.
Preston reaping the rewards from taking a bit more of a direct approach. Jonas Markowski doesn't necessarily have to win the header, he just has to apply pressure to the defender in that situation. Knocked back to Campbell strong. Labib. It's around the outsides, and then Foligno concedes the corner.
It's been good again this afternoon, Don Foligno on the bib. Hasn't allowed him to get across inside their defensive box.
Hasn't got forward too much, Don Foligno, but that hasn't really been the brief. Whipped in by Guest off the corner. Trap rising highest and can't get clean connection on it. Still this one pretty cagey between two sides who know what's at stake.
Two sides that are very good at locking down games as well, so you can't imagine there'll be too many goals in the second half. Like when you're a kid, next goal wins.
May very well be, although a goal would completely change the approach of at least one of these teams. Tracks. Atakubi. First time around the corner from Guest, who was cleaned up by Ali, but the move goes on with Hampson, who squares it for Labib. And at the second attempt, Labib finds the back of the net, and Oakleigh hit the front on the road.
I thought Hampson was going to pull the trigger there. Intelligently played it across the face. I thought Felina done enough to block the shot, got close enough, but the ricochet just fell straight back into Labib's path and managed to find the back of the net.
Well, Oakleigh turning defence into attack so quickly there. Kubi's pass was picked off. Jamal Ali was taken out, or took out Joe Guest rather. It didn't matter. That pass around the corner was absolutely on the money. And then the sliding through ball for Connor Hampson, galloping forward from left back. Preston had no answer for.
Probably a bit silly by Jamal Ali to get sucked into that ball too. Joe Guest, he was so far out of that defensive shape. It really contributed too much to Hampson getting on it, but it just made everyone shift across a little bit. But Hampson recognised that threat the moment Oakleigh started attacking. He was up and on his bike as soon as that ball went forward.
Well, he's the one who won it.
Yep, started that move and just kept going.
Superbly executed from Oakleigh.
Right on cue. As soon as I said next goal wins.
Well, that might be the goal. The task becomes really difficult for Preston now as Juratovic flicks it on for Sinclair. And Oakleigh looking for another. Labib for Guest! Off the inside of the post. Joe Guest desperately unlucky. Struck that so sweet and so true. And Ryan Scott was a mere spectator.
Geez, so unlucky, Joe Guest. What a strike. Hit that perfectly. Preston really need to switch on and get their shape back for the next 5 minutes, because Oakleigh's developed a habit against Preston of once they score, they just go on a bit of a rampage at times.
Hampson. Going for the byline this time. And will happily settle for the corner.
I've seen Oakleigh put the foot down on the accelerator about 3 times against this Preston side.
See the difference that goal has made in terms of their confidence. You can smell blood here. Kingsley Sinclair on set-piece duties this time. Hampson at the back stick. Comfortable save for Scott that time. You see Preston just in two minds whether they go quickly or try and maintain possession. Kubalay forces Adam Bavka to make his decision one way or the other, and it's a Preston free kick. Atakubi taken down by McGill. Taken quickly by Felino. Preston up the tempo.
They're going to have to. But the risk is, Oakleigh's so good at winning the ball back and breaking with speed. The more Preston start opening themselves up, the more Oakleigh will look like getting a second.
Negro late on Sinclair. An hour played, and the Cannons have Preston right where they want them. It's been a really disciplined performance on the road.
That's what they are, a very disciplined side, Oakleigh. Everyone knows their role. They're all on the same wavelength.
Preston look like a side trying to find a new identity this season under Zoran Markovski. Been ups and downs, bit of a transition year so far. Of course, that points deduction doesn't help. Ali. Bozanovsky. Cuba dropping deep for a touch of the football. Fed forward down the line by Negro for Brooks. Knocked back to Cuba. And a Kubi. Wrestling match on between Boyce and Markovsky. Oakleigh breaking through Labib. He'll knock it into space and take the contact off Foligno. He knows his name is going into Adam Bavka's pocketbook.
I think that looked worse than what it actually was. Foligno initially won the ball, but stuck his backside out and Labib just crashed into it.
Looks like Labib did more damage to Foligno than Foligno did to him.
Yeah, I don't think it was as bad as it looked. Preston's afternoon is just about to get a little bit more trickier. Mr. Diaz is preparing himself to come on for Oakleigh.
Turn for Liston Diaz, who's been on fire this season. 5 goals for his new club. He replaces Joseph Ford. Labib will go back to right fullback. And Oakleigh have even more firepower on the park now.
Smart substitution there by Chris Taylor. Joseph Ford on a yellow card. You know that Preston's going to start throwing numbers forward.
I'm not surprised that they've switched flanks here, Sinclair and Diaz. I thought the fresh legs would be going straight at Dom Foligno, who's just been booked.
Man on a mission this afternoon, Trap.
He's played with such intensity. Absolutely thundering challenges. And then an obvious free kick. But Preston were inevitably going to give one away. Change is coming. Jason Romero ready to come on. And Jonas Markovsky's afternoon comes to an early end. The board's up. Oakleigh trying to play it quickly. They won't be allowed to. And Chianchi's on for Atakubi, so that means a major reshuffle.
Interesting to see what the move is here. I'd say Leighton Brooks will probably go up top. Romero playing off him. And then Chianchi to go out wide on the right.
Looks about right from Preston, but they haven't been able to get their winger back to defend this Oakleigh free kick. McGilp. Diaz. Guests. Hampson on the outside. Bozanovsky away from danger. Kubalay. And he hit Chianchi early. Instead, there's hesitation once again. That's been the story of Preston's afternoon. Chianchi winning the early free kick off Hampson. He pleads innocence. A really attacking change from Zoran Markovsky. He's not going to die wondering. You see Ali's gone to right back as well.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well.
A major reshuffle.
I was wondering if that was just Ali finding himself out there and Foligno covering, but it looks like that's been a positional change.
So Dom Foligno to centre back. Looks to be Walking a bit gingerly now. And Jamal Ali will resume his role from his time at Heidelberg last season, where he scored 8 goals.
It's been one of Zoran Markovski's go-to moves when his side's gone down in a game, which allows Ali to be a bit more expansive. He's very good on the ball and getting into dangerous areas. Just can't do it when he's playing centre back.
Zinni beating the bib off the bounce. And Stefan Zinni wrestled to the ground. Well, Matt Bozanovsky will head into the penalty area, so we know where this one's going. Cuba's ball in. Romero was the closest. Play by Hampson, I believe. Now, Romero weaving his way through 2 players. Romero, was he caught? He was. Free kick well inside shooting range for Preston. And Sion Cuba and Jason Romero having a major dispute over who gets to take this free kick.
Not a good look. Did well, Romero, to win the foul. It's good footwork on the edge of the area.
Well, you want to put this on target if you're Jason Romero.
Happy camper, Sion Cuba.
Don't see that too often. Big chance for Preston here to equalise. Jason Romero beats the wall and nearly put it in the top corner. Tom Manos was sprawling, but it's just wide.
Not a bad hit from Romero, but I felt like Manos would have had that covered had it been on target. Needed to go the other side of it. Manos wasn't going to be able to get across to it. Up and over the wall. It's more difficult, but probably hit it the right way if it's gone that way.
Well, if you look at Manos' positioning, he is right smack bang in the middle of the goal. So he was almost inviting a shot to that side. I'm not sure he would have got to it, Ivka.
Didn't need to in the end. Can that be the injection of confidence that Preston need?
Romero certainly made an impact. Cianci. Advantage paid. Cianci was fouled. Romero continues with it. Outside of the foot. Pass didn't work out. It's a second bite at it. The back heel from Cuba is snuffed out. Cianci. Little drag back was clever. Doesn't get the whistle he was after. Guest. Well, his radar is off for once. Now, Oakleigh have a problem.
This time it does look like a limb injury.
Yeah, it was just a head knock in the first half, but we always have that concern when we see Cam McGill go to ground. The magic spray's out.
It's going to positive impact Romero.
Certainly raised the tempo in this game, which is what Preston needed.
Yeah, it was just too static with Oakleigh and Adekube there together in the midfield. It was asking too much of Sion Cuba as well. It's a big distance of a good 20 metres, 20, 30 metres between Cuba and Oakleigh and Adekube. Just allowing that Oakleigh midfield to always get on top.
I think it was more of a tactic for 0-0. Certainly not when you're 1 goal down at home. Zinni Early ball in, dealt with by Trapp. Really well dealt with. McGilt back on the pitch.
What's wrong, Roy? What's wrong? Didn't go your way. Oh, poor Roy. Didn't go his way. Yes, come on, Buzzer, come on.
Well, one by Oakleigh, who's drifted infield. Bavka getting involved in the play. And Preston wanted to go on with it. They won't be allowed to.
It's good defensive work rate from Adam Bavka there.
Just reacts so quickly to the transition, doesn't he? Melbourne City still leading against Dandenong Thunder by a goal to nil at home. So as things stand, Preston would be 4 points off the pace, with South Melbourne and Avondale yet to play as well. And now we have another injury stoppage, which has really taken the sting out of this second half. South Melbourne on the wrong end of the scoreline in the OFC Pro League Grand Final today against Auckland FC.
Yeah, that's where it gets a bit tricky for Preston, doesn't it? You know, you'd imagine Avondale's going to beat South Melbourne tomorrow night. And South Melbourne, their OFC campaign has now come to an end, and they'll be back to full strength week to week, so you imagine they're going to start picking up a fair few points. So you start an uphill battle, really, to get into the six. Melbourne City just keeping on in this league. I'm expecting them to drop off at some point, but they haven't.
James Georgiou is ready to come on in midfield for Oakleigh, so in fact it will be Campbell Strong who's replaced. And both central midfielders struggling at the moment, Oakleigh. It's going to be a drop ball for Preston once that substitution is made.
It's got Mark Pethgriotis on the bench, Oakleigh as well, that they can bring on in that midfield.
Brandon Giaccarini can play in there as well, more of a winger.
You know that Chris Taylor likes to slowly drip feed these youthful players into the lineup.
Cuba. Chianchi. Spins Hampson. Now Oakleigh takes a heavy touch.
It's very congested in that area as well. Needed to come out.
See, with Oakleigh playing again in just 2 days' time in the Cup, makes sense for them to slow things down. Sit on this lead. And we're going to see a lot of these long goal kicks, and Bavka signalling to the Preston bench that he has added on the required time.
So good Oakleigh are winning those second, third balls in the middle of the park.
Now Diaz opens up his stride and gets around Oakleigh, but not for long. Chianchi, sliding in was Georgiou. That looked dangerous. And a yellow card produced by the referee. Yeah, with 2 feet like that.
Yeah. Definitely a yellow card.
There's only going to be 2 outcomes.
That's what players sometimes fail to realise. He did win the ball, but it is still a dangerous tackle.
Bozanovsky. Manos more than happy to let that roll behind for a goal kick.
Starting to become a little bit desperate from Preston.
They've still got 15 minutes to play against the league leaders on the live ladder. Try saying that 10 times fast.
Seen that moment there. That's where this team really misses Aiden Bryce. You know, he would have driven into the middle of the park with that ball and tried to break the lines that way.
Guest. Looking for Sinclair. Negro. On to Cuba. Takes Trout into deep water here. Again, the attack slows. Defeat of Sion Cuba. And, well, hasn't that been the story of the afternoon?
Just kept trying to run into the space. Cuba needed to drive towards the goal. Chanchi had made a good run. He could have slotted him through. Just had his head down, didn't get it up at all.
Bit untidy from Bozanovsky there. A solitary goal from Lubib. Lubib is the difference after some selfless work from Connor Hampson. Good driven switch of play from Romero. He's on an island though. Knocks one forward towards Brooks. Well, he thought he was fouled, so did the crowd.
So did I. He was a little bit clumsy from Jacob Trapp.
Just the way he went down looked like he copped a decent shove. Now, Duratovic has a problem.
Coming a bit regular. These are little injury timeouts from Oakleigh at the moment.
Must be a sniper hiding in this commentary gantry somewhere. Exactly what Heidelberg did away against Preston.
Oh, and Scott's seen enough of it.
It's in the opposition half now. Well, we're going to see a good chunk of stoppage time, that's for sure.
Yes, which Preston desperately need more time in this game.
Oakleigh down to 10 for the time being. Duratovic stretches out that problem. Cuba. Ali. Georgiou shoved off the ball. Here comes Jamal Ali. Chianchi. Can he find room on the byline? Chianchi, great delivery. Jacob Trapp piling in with a brave header. Kubalay. Foligno. Foligno couldn't find his teammate. Bozanovsky across. Negro keeps it alive. And Foligno turns it over. 1-1 back by McGill. Duratovic, first time back to Sinclair, and Oakleigh have a 4-on-4 here. Sinclair for Duratovic. Guest in the middle! And the header flashes agonisingly wide.
How he got his head onto that, Joe Guest, just came out of nowhere. To angle his body, geez, that would have been some goal.
I was expecting the delivery to go to the back post for Diaz. Instead, it was whipped in at a rate of knots.
They look so dangerous in those moments, Oakleigh. Look at how they attack with that pace compared to Preston, how it's so static and slow.
Gianchi doing brilliantly and cutting it back towards Cuba, who had the long wind up. James Georgiou across in time. Kubalay. Brooks couldn't find the killer pass. Driven wide by Guest. Liston Diaz. Cutting in field. Diaz! Palmed away by Scott. Now Sinclair. Superb win of the ball. And Joe Guest goes onto his weaker right boots. It was an admirable attempt.
It's a good save by Ryan Scott. It's good awareness as well. He knew there wasn't any Oakleigh attacking players around. He could just palm it away.
Preston, for all their promising play and pressure, haven't really troubled Tom Manos. And Oakleigh looked the more likely to pick them off on the counter-attack.
Yeah, which is the concern I said once Preston started opening themselves up. You can see how dangerous Oakleigh are if they win the ball in the right areas.
Felino. Well judged by Boyce. Guest. Just automatic on the half turn, isn't he? And it's an outstretched boot from Stefan Negro. Takes down Kingsley Sinclair. Preston still have Naoki Suto to bring on. It looks like he might be summoned now. Quickly take the free kick quickly to Labib. Low-driven delivery. He's never in danger of troubling Dom Felino. He's walking really gingerly now. He's actively limping, and they don't have another defender on the bench to replace him with. Kubalay beaten by Guest. Cut back to Duratovic. On for Diaz! And not far away.
They really look like getting another goal, don't they, Oakleigh? They look more likely to score than Preston does at the moment.
12 shots to 4 by my count. Tells the story. Paperwork being filed for another Preston substitution. Good win from Ali. Ethan Pandorf's going to come on as well, 19-year-old, to make his NPL Victoria debut. Free kick given away by Zinni. Now the board goes up. And Leighton Brooks is coming off. So is Dom Felino by the looks of things. So Ethan Pandorf's going to play in central defence.
Another reshuffle for the forward line for Preston.
Naoki Suto, the latest to occupy that central striking position. Just one goal for Preston so far, away to Hume City. Boyce. Heads into touch. Negro. Suto. Hooked forwards by Guest. And Duratovic down clutching his face. Adam Bavka saw nothing wrong with it. But they do have to stop play for a head injury.
I don't think he really wanted to stop the play there, Adam Bavka, but it's a head clash or head injury.
You also have to go off the pitch, don't you, for if they've stopped play for the head injury? Maybe I'm wrong.
Not sure, to be honest, Josh. You should know more. You are a coach.
Not a licensed coach, so it's the sort of thing they cover in the C licence. Romero back to Bozanovsky.
But you can see there how quickly Juratovic has got it up onto his feet.
Well, a bit of a circus, really, but Oakleigh are the ringmasters at the moment.
Well, they're the one that's got the goal and 1-0 up, so how they want to see the game out and manage it's on their terms, isn't it?
Kubalay. Zinni. Little shove from Duratovic.
Hold your head this time again.
Chianchi. Hampson just unceremoniously boots the ball into Zach Chianchi to win the throw. He's always beat the first man when he's got it, though.
Yeah, they're just so organised locally. There's always someone else there to cover those gaps.
3 minutes of regulation left to play in Reservoir. Preston still trail. Oakleigh are grinding their way to the top of the table as things stand. Duratovic. Diaz. Handoff with a crunching challenge. Played the ball though.
He's done really well there, hasn't he?
Fantastic tackle. He's been watching Jacob Trapp this evening, I think.
Even the follow-up as well.
Well, that's left short by Kubalay. Again, Preston waste it. Absolutely no urgency from Oakleigh, as you might expect. They've turned on the style when it's counted. And they're content to hold what they have. Kubalay. Well done by Kubalay. It's absolutely no support at all. I think that's the point he's making to his teammates further upfield. Ali. Great tackle from Diaz. And Duratovic. Guessed, well, offline with that one, but you can see those combinations in transition are just automatic.
And they just keep moving as well. See Diaz win the ball, play it, and then keep running into that space.
Chianchi. Romero has a go from range, and it's always trickling wide. 6 minutes up on the board for Preston to find something at the tail end of this one. Diaz, who's the latest to hit the deck.
Right on cue.
Howls of derision from the grandstands. He's freshly back from injury, Diaz, I believe, so no treatment required. Captain Guest marshalling the troops for one final push to see Oakleigh over the line. Cuba scored that spectacular curler against Oakleigh on match day 1. Does he have another moment of magic left in his legs? Romero dribbling into a cul-de-sac. James Georgiou with no one to pass to.
It's a bit silly by Romero to just run into traffic like that.
Handoff. Early ball snuffed out by Labib. It's a great tackle from Negro. Combination of he and Romero winning it back for Preston. Take it down off the chest by Cuba. Shout for handball, waved away. Shove on Suto. Looks around, hopefully, at the referee.
The concerning thing for Preston out of this game is back-to-back games with no goals scored and probably no real shots on target.
Well, Liston Diaz is going to be withdrawn. Going to have to go off on the far side. Well, it's a pretty early end to Liston Diaz's cameo.
There was a legitimate injury concern for him.
Maybe the message didn't get back to the bench that it wasn't. You can only speculate. Instead, Brendan Giacorini comes on. Diaz was shrugging his shoulders at the bench, saying, "Why are you taking me off? I've only just come on." Quickly trap it in the corner. Preston throw. Ali probably taking a few liberties there with the location of the throw. Oh, Matt Bozanovsky is forward as an emergency striker. So panic stations for Preston now.
That's the ultimate panic stations when your centre-back goes up top.
May as well. Couple of minutes left to play for Preston to pull something out of the hat. Ali's throw. Kubalay. Romero. Zinni. Back for Cuba. Joe Guest almost caught that ball. He's going to be booked for that as well.
Could this be the moment? It's not an ideal area to win a free kick.
And it's so central and so far out, too far out for a shot. Going to be difficult to play the cross. Cuba getting a steer from the bench to the location of this delivery. Preston fast running out of time. Cuba to clip it in and misses everybody.
Just about sums up Preston's afternoon, really. They've come up against a very good Oakleigh side.
And Oakleigh is set up defensively. It's been like passing a kidney stone for Preston.
It's a good analogy.
Manoff's making sure his boots are mud free. Here comes the long punt. Yes. Goal kick. Regardless of Negro not getting the free kick and Sinclair not getting the corner. No one's happy. Pandolf. Ceremonious punt forwards for Bozanovsky to contest. Wrong foot's Cianci with the header, and that clearance is onto the roof of the grandstand and maybe over the top. Time ticking away. We've had stoppages in stoppage time, but we've played the 6 minutes.
Ryan Scott's going up.
Don't often see a goalkeeper forward off a throw. The net is unguarded. And that's full time. And Oakleigh have toughed it out on the road. A superbly disciplined display. And all it took was one chance. Taken by Labib after superb work from Connor Hampson. Perhaps this afternoon's outstanding participant. But Oakleigh go back on top of the league. They still haven't lost here since 2008. And Preston, a second successive 1-0 defeat, have to regroup quickly for their cup tie against Caroline Springs George Cross here on Wednesday. Mark Ivkovic, your thoughts on this one?
Thoroughly deserved 3 points for Oakleigh. I thought they dictated the terms of the entirety of that game. Really controlled the tempo of it, the way the game flowed. Really deserved those 3 points. And like you said, Preston really need to regroup and go again on Wednesday. Not the greatest of starts to a big week for them, but Oakleigh back on top of the table and deservedly so.
Chris Taylor and his Chargers will be delighted with that team display to get them over the line. So final score at Jenna Steele Stadium is Preston Lions 0, Oakleigh Cannons 1.
We look forward to you coming along.